You know how people say that eyes are the window to the soul? That's actually true. And in today's video, I'm going to explain how I even found that out and also why it's true. Now, real quick, if you don't know me, yo, what's good? It's your boy Dot from Dot Me Now Coaching and Entertainment. For coaching, my links are down below. Let me first start off by explaining different things that happened to make me even realize that this statement might be true. And then once I realized that this might be true, I simply just decided to find out for myself. And then I got the answer and it was true. So what was first making me realize it was that there was one time when I was like on shrooms and I was looking at my girlfriend in her eyes and I could feel her frequency through her eyes with inside of maybe like my stomach, navel, solar plexus area, like around that area. That's where I was like feeling her frequency, but it was like coming like through her eyes. I could feel it through her eyes, but it was like in my body, right? And after that, I was like, yo, what if eyes really are the window to the soul? And then I started having clients, right? Some of y'all watching this video, you guys remember this, where they would ask me like, yo, bro, so like, how do you like do these spiritual readings? Because like people would just hop on camera and like I could accurately read them. And they're like, how are you doing that so quick? And I'm like, honestly, like once your face appears on the camera, I could kind of just do it. But because more and more people ask me, I started really thinking about like why this is. Because before my sessions, I can pick up on like a little bit of energy and kind of like expect some things before the call. But once the person's face hops, like once a person's face hops on the screen and stuff like that, I get the full information. I know all about them, what I gotta say, what they need to hear, all that, right? And I was like, yo, why is that? And I'm like, maybe it really is something to do with like the eyes. Cause I started noticing that like when I look into a person's eyes, I could kind of understand them more. And something else I realized was that there was one time when I was telling somebody that like a person was like asking me about their past lives, but I didn't know what they looked like. I'm like, if you send me a picture of your face, it'd be way more easy for me to tell. Now, when they sent the picture, they had a picture, but their contacts were in their eyes. They had like colored contacts, right? Now, I was still able to get like accurate information pretty easily, but I noticed that there was like a certain block, and this was that picture situation actually happened before I was getting asked how I do these readings, right? So when I was getting asked that question, I kind of reflected back on that moment, like, when I did see that one guy's face and he had contacts in, I got the information, but it felt just like a certain block there, you know? So at this point, I'm like, let me take this serious. Maybe eyes really are the window to the soul, right? So then I'm like, okay, let me actually find this out, you know, whether it's by, I mean, I can leave my body, ask different beings. I can also kind of just channel the answer right here on the spot and stuff like that. I could get the answer from my spirit. You know, I did everything, you know, and it's the same conclusion, right? The reason why eyes are the window to the soul is the fact that what is your soul, right? Your soul is an individualized focal point of awareness. It's the observer, which is observing this lifetime, and it's the point of awareness which your spirit uses to focus itself into this point in time and space, right? With that being said, it's the observer. It observes things. As humans, how do we observe things? Mainly through our eyes, right? We make observations through our eyes. So with that being said, right, when the soul is observing life, it's heavily doing it through the eyes. This is one of the main points of observation. Therefore, a lot of your soul's energy is focused in the eyes. A lot of a soul's consciousness and their awareness is focused at the eyes. So if you look at somebody inside their eyes, you kind of literally are peeping into their soul, because how is that person looking at you? Their consciousness is observing you through the eyes. So when we make direct eye-to-eye contact, our souls are literally observing each other, and they're doing it through the eyes. This is the reason why your eyes are the window to the soul. because this is literally the glass which your soul is looking through. You know, like imagine if like right now there's a window to the left of me, right? If I look outside that window, right? You feel me? Anybody who looks through that window can also see me. So if I'm looking through these windows, anybody else who looks through these windows can see my soul. You see? And this is what will allow you to get a lot of information about a person. But that's also why certain people can look you in the face, like when they're going to lie to you and stuff like that and all these things, because they would give it off through their eyes because their soul knows that they're lying. And if you could peep them deep inside their eyes, you can see if they're lying. Like you can kind of just get that intuitive sense, you know? A lot of people don't want to look people in the eye because their soul, right? Really, I want to say feel like their soul is scared to look at somebody, but it's more of the fact that there's right now they're in an unaware state of their soul and they're acting from a character, but the soul is still observing just in an unconscious manner. Therefore, from the state of unconsciousness, that person feels like, oh my God, I'm going to be exposed if I look at this person through their eyes, because that's where their soul is observing life through. And if I'm looking through this, you could also look through this and see me. You see? You see? So I think now would be great to start experimenting with this inside your life, right? If you want to get more information about people, just look them inside their eyes. You could literally do this by just looking at random people online. You know, you could do it with me, you could do it with random pictures of celebrities and stuff like that. But then inside your everyday life, try to hold eye contact more, really try to sense the frequency behind somebody's eyes. Because when you tap deep into the eyes, because like, even though I felt it on shrooms, I could feel it also I could do it with my own self. Like literally, when I would mirror gaze, before understanding how this whole eyes and mirrors, because I didn't even really consider the fact that I used to mirror gaze and stuff like that, you know? But like when I would mirror gaze, I would look into my eyes and kind of feel myself way more. I can feel the awareness behind my eyes because that's where I'm looking at, through my eyes. So you should also do a practice with yourself, right? If you want to understand more about yourself, look through your own eyes and feel your own innate frequency through your eyes. It's going to be freaking lit. You know, you could get way more information about yourself and other people by looking through the eyes. Now, without further ado, I'm ending this video right here. Love you all. Catch you in my next video. Peace. The freak out.